Here's a pattern I can't ignore. Every coach I talk with about AI eventually asks the same question, but they dress it up differently. They ask about tools, about transcription, about note-taking apps. What they are really asking is underneath all of that. Where does the room begin and can anything touch it? And back in Module 1, we drew a line. Working in the business and working on the craft, the room you sit in with a client is the on-the-craft scale of that line. In Module 2, AI earned a real place in the back office because that work is execution. This scale is not execution. And notice I am not saying AI cannot technically approximate a coaching conversation. That argument never ends, and it is not the one that matters. The argument that matters is simpler. The coaching relationship is the thing that must not be handed off. Let me get specific, because vague reverence helps no one. The first competency the ICF defines is maintains presence. Being fully conscious and present with the client, managing your own emotions, tolerating not knowing, staying grounded in service of the person in front of you. Here is the distinction to hold. A tool processes tokens. It moves an input to an output through pattern and probability. That is execution. Presence is not execution. It is a quality of being that arises between two people who are both, in their own ways, at stake in that room. Processing is in the business. Presence is on the craft. The second competency is cultivates trust and safety. The ICF definition centers on creating a safe, supportive environment and consistently applying coaching ethics. Here's what I want you to take in. Trust is not a setting you switch on at the start of a session. It is built across time. It needs memory, continuity, and the knowledge that something real is at stake for both of you. An AI platform starts fresh or runs on a pattern-matched version of history, and the client knows the difference. They may never put words to it, but they feel whether the thing across from them has any memory of who they are. The third competency is listens actively, the one most easily mistaken for something a tool can do. The ICF definition is not about capturing words. It is about noticing what is not said, how the client is holding themselves, what just shifted in the room. A tool can transcribe, flag sentiment, identify recurring phrases. None of that is listening. Listening is receiving the whole person, body, silence, hesitation, and responding from that reception. Hold that, because we are about to watch it slip away. No coach decides in one dramatic moment to hand off the room. That is not how the line moves. It moves like this. AI could draft my follow-up. Reasonable, clearly in the business. Then AI could summarize the session. Borderline now. Interpretation has begun, and whose lens is shaping that summary? Then AI could name the key themes. And there it is. You have handed off a piece of active listening. Consider a coach who starts generating a short insight summary after each call. Soon they read the summary before their own notes. Then it replaces their notes. Within months, their read of the room is mediated by the tool's read of it. They did not make one big decision. They made 12 small ones, and each felt like progress. So I want you to pause for a moment. Think back to a session that mattered, one where something real shifted for a client. Picture the moment it happened. Now ask yourself, what created that moment? Was it the structure of the session, a question from a template, or was it something that could only exist between two humans in that relationship at that time? Hold your answer. We will come back to it at the end of this module. Here is the trap to avoid, framing this as AI versus coaching. That sounds defensive and it loses the argument before it starts. This was never about AI being bad. It is about what the room actually is. Presence, trust, and listening are not soft extras. They are named, defined competencies a tool cannot perform. And the line does not protect itself. It is held at the front end in the decisions you make about what enters the room, or it is not held at all. So we have drawn the line in the room. Now comes the harder question. What happens to your client's voice, their most vulnerable words, once they leave the session? That is what we look at next.